Linkin Park is back and they've got a new singer. And there is a lot of drama going on, and there's a lot of weirdness to talk about. I feel like all of you have heard of Linkin Park before. They're probably one of the most well known bands of the modern age. And even just hearing the name Linkin Park is like time travel for my brain. It just transports me, like astral projects me back to like 2002. I've said this before, Hybrid Theory is my favorite album ever, and I think it always will be. It was the soundtrack to my formative years. The boner jams on here I don't think will ever be beaten. And I feel the same way about Meteora. I think both of those albums are masterpieces. But when Hybrid Theory comes on, it's like Popeye getting his spinach. I'll hear that and I'll just go fucking superhuman. I'll feel like I can run through 5 brick walls. Point is, I feel strongly about this band, and when Chester Bennington tragically passed away, it was really rough, and it still is. It's extremely sad. He is a one-of-a-kind talent that will never be seen again. However, Linkin Park the band is back, and they have a new singer, and last week they performed a concert with her. Her name is Emily Armstrong. So they did a performance with Emily, they released a single with Emily, and Linkin Park is putting out an album with her as well. And there's more feelings and emotions here than in Inside Out 2. There has been a lot of discussion around it, and since the performance, a lot of information has come out that has changed the conversation from Linkin Park and even the new song they put out and put it entirely on Emily Armstrong. Because she's got a lot of weird stuff that's gone on, to put it lightly. So she's apparently a Scientologist and was actually at like a preliminary hearing for Danny Masterson as like a show of support for him. If you don't remember who that evil piece of shit is, let me jog your memory. Danny Masterson is the actor from That 70s Show who is a rapist in real life. He is a convicted rapist. And if that doesn't, reconnect some neural pathways in your brain, maybe you'll remember some of the drama that happened last year where some celebrities wrote character letters to the judge going over how great of a guy Danny Masterson is to try and help with some lenient sentencing for him. He's got a great smile. Well, he never raped me. Come on, have a heart. What are you doing? Have you seen That 70s Show? What an actor. And some of those celebrities include Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, who are glazing him like a donut. And then once all this information came out, they then released an apology video trying to, reduce the shrapnel they were getting hit with all the backlash from it. Not to just go off on that tangent, but that is still an infuriating thing that happened. Anyway, though, Emily Armstrong comes into the picture because she was called out by Cedric Bixler Zavala, who brought to light the fact that she is a Scientology member who showed up to the Danny Masterson early hearing as part of a group, basically as like an intimidation tactic. It certainly isn't the best thing to be learning about this new vocalist who's replacing a beloved singer. And it's left fans very upset. I'm not going to dive too deep into everything that's come out about all of that. However, Emily Armstrong responded with a post about it where she said that she misjudged Danny Masterson. She, regrets doing that and doesn't support it. However, she didn't utter a peep about Scientology. That word was like Voldemort to her, which is really weird because it's not like that wasn't related, because that was kind of the whole reason that she was there, apparently. So I don't know why she wouldn't talk about that at all. I'm just kidding, pulling your leg. I know exactly why she wouldn't mention Scientology. Because she's probably afraid to, fearing for her fucking life if she pisses off the Scientologists. That's kind of the whole situation in a nutshell. It's by no means a thorough dive into all of it. I highly encourage all of you to read more from Cedric Bixler Zavala about this situation and more information around it. And there's been a lot of good coverage on all of it. I just kind of wanted to give you like the bare bones breakdown of it. And I also kind of want to give you my perspective on Linkin Park moving forward with a new singer, even if it wasn't Emily Armstrong. I really do think it is fine for Linkin Park to continue as a band. I know a lot of people have said they should have changed their name or something. I disagree. I don't think there's anything wrong with carrying on the legacy of Linkin Park as a group. I think that is a totally understandable thing to do, especially if they all still have passion for the project. And I think everyone, including them, knows you can never replace Chester Bennington. And I think them hiring Emily Armstrong to do that is them understanding that it's an impossible task to replace a talent like that, a soul like that. So Emily Armstrong being their vocalist is very much not a Chester Bennington, you know, impressionist or anything. She sounds completely different. During their live performance, like, she sounded fine. There were some moments where her like voice would crack and sometimes it sounded a bit like karaoke, but overall, she did a good job with the songs as a singer. I did not like the single at all. That's just not my style of music that I really vibe with. That didn't have me wiggling my finger and salivating for the album to drop, unfortunately. And it's no secret, I didn't really like any of Linkin Park's albums after Minutes to Midnight. But even still, I've always had like an appreciation of the band. I think there was a time when I was like in college where I was really upset that the music they were putting out wasn't the music I was used to. But I've come to understand now, since I'm 30 years old, that you're just not going to be doing the same thing forever, and it's silly to expect that. So them changing their style so much over the years makes a lot of sense to me. It's just not a style that personally resonated with my taste, and there's nothing wrong with that. I also wanted to mention that I completely understand why Linkin Park wouldn't want a clone of Chester to replace him and move forward with this group. There is a group called Hybrid Theory, and they are a tribute band to Linkin Park. And their lead singer, his name is Ivo Rosario. There are times where he sounds almost indistinguishable from Chester Bennington. He is about as close as I think anyone could ever come to sounding like Chester. Even if someone gathered all the Dragon Balls and made a wish to just have Chester's voice, I still don't think it would sound the same. I think Ivo Rosario is as close to that as a mortal can possibly get. His screams are pretty much one-to-one sometimes. He has the raspiness and the grit to his clean vocals that only Chester could really do. Like, even when he was doing Given Up, which has Chester's longest continuous scream, Ivo matched not only the same tone of the scream, but also the same duration. He's an extraordinarily talented vocalist who sounds about as close to Chester as my two nuts are to the shaft of my cock. Like, it is close. And he also kind of looks like Chester. And I definitely don't think he should have been the replacement for Chester in Linkin Park. I, under no circumstances, think that would have been the right decision. I saw a lot of people flood Hybrid Theory's comment section saying, "How dare they choose Emily over Ivo? This makes no sense. Look at how close he sounds to Chester. He even looks like Chester's doppelganger. It looks like they were separated at birth. They're clones." I just don't think it would be a good idea. Just picture this. You lose your best friend in the world, and then a little while later, you find someone that looks and sounds just like them. I don't think you'd be like, "Oh, my new best friend. Perfect. I needed someone to come in here and fill these shoes." Like, it'd be extremely weird for the band, I would think, and it'd be extremely weird for fans, I would think. It certainly would be for me if I heard Linkin Park have a vocalist that sounds exactly like Chester. I think it'd almost be disrespectful in my eyes. So I do think them going for a different sounding vocalist for a different direction was the right call. I'm just not convinced Emily Armstrong was the right choice to fulfill that role. You know, I think you could have got a better quarterback. I feel like if the band knew all of the Scientology stuff, they probably wouldn't be super thrilled about that either, especially given everything that they've gone through. I'm not going to be, putting thoughts in their head, putting poop in their butt or anything. I don't know them personally. I'm sounding very parasocial here. But from everything I've ever learned about them, it feels like a lot of what I've learned about Emily Armstrong would be very much not something they'd be super happy about. And I don't think that she's the best possible vocalist they could have gotten or anything either. But anyway, what I do think is that Ivo Rosario and the Hybrid Theory tribute band is a really, really fucking fun group that is touring. And it's a group I really want to see. I never got to see Linkin Park live, and it's something that I really regret. A huge missed opportunity. I was really considering going to Revolution when it came to the swamp down here, but I got really nervous and cold feet about being around a lot of other people, so I ended up just pussying out and not going, and I never got to see them perform live. But seeing Hybrid Theory perform live will probably be about as close as I can ever get to experiencing a fraction of what an OG Linkin Park concert must have been like. And I think that's super cool. I am really happy that Hybrid Theory is such a talented group that does all of these tracks justice. And hopefully they'll come around the area at some point so I can go to one of those concerts. But I do not think Ivo Rosario would have been the right call to replace Chester Bennington in Linkin Park. I think it just would have been a little weird for the legacy of Linkin Park and Chester. Anyway, though, that's really about it. See ya.